decided to go with the garden metaphor because, again, I wanted this book to feel like a hug, and I thought um, the garden gives you a very warm and I don't know. It just, as I said in the other podcast too. I thought, where would I go with my patients to talk to them? It would be in the park and of the hospital. I would take them out. I wouldn't talk to them about emotional stuff in their room if I can avoid it. So I took them for walks, and then we ate some ice cream on the bench in the sun, and then we talked about stuff.
Welcome to the Culture, Communication and Care Spotlight with Mark Gibson and Nur Ferrante, a space within the Patient Voice and Linguistic Validation Café podcast where health communication, cultural sensitivity and diversity are given voice cross-culturally through experiences of patients and professionals in the field.
This episode is sponsored by GRC, putting the patient at the heart of research globally.
Our guest today is Kathrin Kunze, clinical trial communication strategist and multilingual medical communicator with a clinical nursing background and more than 20 years of experience across healthcare, pharmacy, and life sciences. Discover her new book, HtSC Cancer, and her community of medical translators, the HtSC Cancer Family.
Everyone, we are here once more in our Patient Voice and Linguistic Validation Café podcast, our culture care and communication spotlight today with Kathrin Kunze and her HtSC Cancer family. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Nora and Mark, for inviting me and my family to this podcast today. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
It's a real pleasure, and for us it's a very special episode because it's the first episode where we have a book presentation, and also where we introduce our Art of Diversity Press, and we are excited because Kathrin was the, let's say, the instigator or initiator of our first publication, because we were not ready yet, but she was ready with her book, and we said, okay, let's go edit this and let's do it. So we are very grateful to you. And let's first ask you about who you are. So for the audience that are listening to us, tell us a bit about yourself, Kathrin, your background, and also later maybe how HtSC Cancer came about.
Yeah, right. So my name is Kathrin Kunze. I am actually a German living in Sweden, but I have lived in different parts of the world to sharpen my English skills as well. And I have been taking care of people like all my life. I've been at the youth department from the Red Cross in Germany from the age of 6. I had my first presentation about HIV when I was 10. When I was 8, I thought I had a brain tumor because I had like extreme migraine attacks every week, and so on. So my medical journey started with the age of 6. When I was 17, I started official training, nurses training, and after that, I actually nursed around the world until I think it was 34, 35, something like this. When my own body told me to not work as a nurse anymore, which at that time actually broke my heart, because I was the nurse, I wasn't, that wasn't a profession for me. I was a job. I loved what I did, really taking care of people, learning every day. The last 7 years I worked in the ER, and every day is unpredictable and every day brings something new with it. And you never know what is up next. And I really love that because it just kept learning. I'm a learnaholic too, so I like to learn stuff. And so then I kind of fell in a hole when I couldn't nurse anymore. Because I never saw me at the desk. I never thought that I'm going to be a desk person. I'm more the like running around person. But at the same time, we decided as a family to move to Sweden. So I was kind of busy doing stuff, organizing stuff, and moving a whole family and a dog to Sweden. So we came here almost 4 years ago. And in the very beginning, it was very easy for me to pick up Swedish. And people kept saying, "Oh, what? You're just here for a few weeks. You speak so well," and all this stuff. And this was all in the process where I was like thinking, what am I going to do with my life? I don't know, like professionally. And my daughter and actually the mother of my husband once said, "Why don't you do something with your language skills?" And then one piece fell into another, and this is what I became a medical translator and now actually a medical communicator, because I do much more than translate these days. So yeah, and this is also how that book happened.
That's really an amazing journey. And I remember you mentioned, was it your father that influenced you as well, or someone in the family was a doctor, or I don't remember if that was the case.
No, I don't have. No, actually, it's quite the opposite. We don't have highly studied people in my family. We're just normal worker family. But I don't know, I was born with that kind of like that interest for medicine and the human body. I always thought it's such a wonder. When my best friend became pregnant the first time, I had goosebumps because I was like, wow, this is like there's something building in your body and everything just happens naturally. You don't have to do anything. I mean, you have to do something for a kid, but you know what I mean. It's like everything just functions. You breathe, your heart beats, your cells divide and all this stuff without you telling your body what to do. So I find this extremely fascinating, the subject, like medicine.
So it was like an inner call, really, because not having those influences, no, there was something in your soul that already was imprinted there, no?
I'm
Caring
certain
for
about that.
others.
Yeah.
And you have mentioned that you thought you had cancer when you were.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that actually, I had, as I said, I had extreme migraine attacks every week. So I couldn't see right, and I had the headaches, and I had the dizziness, and all this stuff. And as soon as I could read, maybe I should say that I lived quite a lot with my grandmother because I don't have a father. So she influenced me a lot by watching TV and news, which were not appropriate for my age in that time. And when I was 8, it was like early 90s. So there was AIDS and HIV and the cancer all around, like the news, and being something really terrible. At the same time, I had those headaches and those migraine symptoms. And my grandmother, she had, maybe this is what you mean. Yeah. She has those books at home, those self-diagnosed books.
Exactly. I knew there was.
There was
I
something.
remember. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't read like fairy tales. I wrote those books. I read those books when I was little, as soon as I could read, because I found it so interesting, as I said. And there was this brain tumor coming, and all the symptoms fitted to my symptoms. And actually, this is like, I'm laughing now, but this is when it got really serious. When I really started to get this cancer fear, and at the same time listening to the news all the time, and this. It was just built up over the years. Fear for cancer.
I guess sometimes it reminds me that it's the necessary friction, no? That then once you overcome it, it gives you your, let's say, awakens your gifts. Sometimes we need to go
Yeah,
deep
well,
in the dark night, because let's say that's a kind of a dark night of the soul. So little for you, so that was a very early awakening for
yeah,
you, and so
yeah. I guess that's
so
very
beautiful.
true. Funny enough, I only got over the fear, kind of. I'm still very anxious about cancer, getting cancer, but writing this book actually really helped me to cope with it too. So I'm still in the process. It's been 30 years now. I'm getting
Yeah,
there.
when we move from fear to agency, right? When because I can understand to what point that could have been traumatic for you. No, when we get traumatized, when we say, I don't want to be living this, I don't want to experience this, and I can't process it, I can't integrate this, and we get traumatized, blocked, frozen, and all those reactions. And I can understand at that young age, having these symptoms, seeing all those news, not understanding, and at the same time self-diagnosing and seeing some reasonable patterns there, because that's a sign of intelligence. And then coming to an entire life of up to some age of being a nurse, giving yourself to others, and then coming full circle with this book where you become you overcome that fear, or even befriend it, and you realize it's there, it's still there, but I have been able to turn into that fear into agency that can help others. So that's an amazing journey, really, and very
it's a good way to
courageous.
put it. Yeah. Befriended. Yeah, I think that's kind of what is happening. Yeah. To respect the fear and work with it. Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned, well, if you want to share it with us, but I'm very curious. You said that at some point your body said that you couldn't continue with that work of being a nurse and put you on a desk. Do you feel like sharing that with us?
Yeah, well, it's not too serious. It's just a broken back. So I can't lift anymore. I have arthrosis in my ISGs, like that's the tiny hip joints, and the disc prolapse on the three. How do you say that?
Three?
The things.
The discs.
No, yeah, the disc is. Oh man, now I forgot the word. Of your spine, in your spine, you have those discs. Yes. So those I have 3 prolapses, and this was just like I woke up, like I kept having heavy back pain, but one day I woke up and I couldn't feel my right leg, and it was just numb, and I couldn't really walk. And this is like when I was like, okay, let's go to see a doctor, one of my colleagues. And then we had the MRT going, and then he's like, nah, it's not good, Kathrin. And when I saw that, the report, I was like, freaking hell, am I like 70 or so? It's like, it was really shocking to read it. But I'm still glad it was just bones. I mean, it's something that I can work with it. I do a lot of yoga and stretching and just slow movements, but I just can't do the heavy lifting all the time. And when you work in an ER, you don't have time to, get the hoist for the patient. And then it just has to be quick. And then they have to, you have to be reliable too. Yeah. So nothing too serious, nothing scary.
Well,
really.
Sometimes life stops us and we have to reinvent ourselves. And your story is a great example of how we can do that and even discover something amazing for us. So,
yeah, I'm glad it happened actually now, because I could never have thought of a career like this without this, and I would still be nursing and breaking my back. Even though I loved it, but I love what I'm doing now too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's nurturing everything you do, no? So you're still nursing, but now with words. So that's really amazing. And what inspired you to write How to Speak Cancer now at this moment? Like, because you've been, let's say, what made it be now and not some years ago? What happened in your life, or how everything came together?
Well, as I said, I started as a medical translator, and I soon went into clinical trial translations. And most of those clinical trials were about cancer. And I kept looking up the same things, the biomarkers and all this. Obviously, I don't have all this in my mind, in my head as well. So I had kept looking up those things. And I kept seeing more and more cancer-related material. So I actually started writing this up, and this should have become a handout for my fellow colleagues, my translator colleagues, with easy explanations of the terms. So because I was like, okay, if I write it up, then other people might profit from it too. So this is how this started. And then I was like, but actually, those documents, they are written for patients, so maybe patients have the same questions. I mean, of course patients have the same questions, and everything like went into this. And I was like, yeah. And then I remembered all the situations during my career that when I translated or interpreted the HCP language into like lay friendly language. And this was just something that happened every day, but we didn't really think about it. We just did it because I don't know, I can't let the patient go with like question marks in his eyes. And then I was like, okay, let's make this a bit bigger than a handout. Let this be a brochure. And and it grew and grew. And I mean, this is still very like, for me, like I'm going through the book and I feel like it's very superficial because I just start talking about the cancer topic. There could be many more books about more deeper stuff. But what I thought is it will give you, it's a perfect guide when you're just diagnosed and you get all those words thrown around like tumor markers, biomarkers, and chemotherapy, targeted therapy, and you hear all those terms and you're like completely confused.
Yeah.
So I started writing the book, wanting to help patients and medical communicators like my colleagues here and you, to understand this all a bit better, just like a guide. Yeah.
Yeah, what you said that, yeah, maybe it has a more simple language, but that's the idea, no? Make it accessible for people that just, they are running their own lives, they have nothing to do with medicine, and all of a sudden this happens to them and the family, and they are shocked and they can't think clearly, and they just can't dig a book that is very thick and dense. No, they
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
something that really may take them from the hand or by the hand and guide them and give them hope and help them
Yeah, exactly.
understand. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not get
Exactly. This
lost
this is
there.
what I wanted. I said it to Mark the other day. I wanted, when you read that book, I wanted you to have the feeling that someone gives you a hug and is taking care of you because you're
That's
so
beautiful.
lost in this world. And I mean, this grew also here in my family. As you guys know, the illustrations are drawn by my
We
daughter.
wanted to ask you about that because
In the
that's
German
beautiful. All
version,
those drawings, the plants that you have there, no, in the
yeah. I mean, I was really proud of her. But she's very modest about it. She's actually more ashamed of me sharing her art, but she's amazing. Um, in the German version, my mother wrote a poem where we have your poem in the English version. My mother wrote a poem, and all this and also the garden metaphors, it's all made to make you feel more secure and less scared, because you said some word, it's hope, and this is what I want to give. Even stage 4 cancer can be livable, and it's not a death sentence right away these days. There's so much going on, and yeah.
absolutely. Yes, because you mentioned, it's true that Kathrin, when she was about to publish her book, she just asked me to give her one of of my poems or add. And to me, it was really an honor to be asked that, because one of my dreams is that my poetry may help others in this sense. And she chose the peace tree. It's a poem that I remember writing it under a lime blossom tree, and I was like, yeah, trying to, let's say, not feel like my life had stopped in a way, but that I could still contribute and find healing all around me. And you recorded the poem in YouTube the other day, and I was so like, oh my God, I was crying. And this thing are really beautiful, and uh, I would like to just read it because I
Yes.
can't help it, and maybe
Please do them.
to share this background. And it's called the peace tree because for me also peace is part of what heals us, right? Lowering that stress, which to me is a challenge always. So it says, I see how I wouldn't mind becoming a lime blossom tree, full of green hearted leaves, yellow tiny pearls, and fruit like feathers in autumn. To be the peace tree with healing properties for winter season maladies, with a fragrance in bloom that lifts a spirit's beauty in spring. Benevolent shade giver in summer's burning heat, in earth woven silently. And I think because we all become the peace tree and our own healing properties, inside us. And I think a book like yours is what it does. It gives us the awareness that we are the a self-healing agent, and we need to be active in that process, as well as, of course, let go when it needs to be let go, and let the doctors and nurses and other healers and therapists take the lead, and you have to trust, but also you have to trust in your own process and your body and in your capacity to self-heal. And this leads me to the vision of this book. And I would say, I would pose my question like, what do you expect your book to contribute to patients, caregivers, clinicians, health communicators? I know that because when we write a book, maybe the seed of it starts and we have an intention, but then while we are walking the book and it's being created, and then we see it entirely, we see that it has much more ramifications, let's say, and our vision transforms into something even greater than we thought, because we start with a lot of humbleness, with not knowing where it's going to lead, and you follow the tracks, but then you see something, and that keeps growing. The story keeps telling itself. So what's at this moment? What's the vision that you have for the book?
Well, my vision is that people go through the first stages of their diagnosis and the first treatment stages, and even the last ones, if there are last ones, that they get more informed and that they have a more clear picture, but that they at the same time save time by having one guide with all the information they need to get started their journey. Because what I hear from, like, when I listen to podcasts from influencers, cancer influencers, they all say the same. They are hours and hours on the desktop or on the computer and trying to research, trying to find stuff, trying to find digestible information. And when you're confronted with a diagnosis like this, then the last thing you have is time. You need to be informed quickly. You need to be knowing what is going on quickly. And then also use as least resources of your brain capacity as possible, because there is not a lot of capacity when you're in shock, when you're in fear or in sadness. So I want to just simply help the patients and also the caregivers. I think that is something that is very often underestimated, how much the caregivers are suffering under the helplessness in this situation. And for them to be informed also helps to help the patient himself or herself. For example, go and visit the doctor together and ask questions, find questions that you need to ask to know. And I think that this book can help there too. And for my medical communication colleagues, this is a perfect guide when you go through it. Like I think Annabella was it, she's, by the way, she's done with her translation. And she said after doing the translation, she feels more like a cancer specialist in the medical communication sphere, like a cancer translation specialist. maybe, or even in English, because my family, they all have the English version as well, so they know all the English terms as well, and then their target language. So that is something that you can really build up on. Like Muhammad, I talked to him. He's the Urdu translator. He can use the knowledge from what he learned through this book to offer medical writing services for cancer patients, for example. I mean, I have always a lot of ideas what to do with this. So this book is not just a book for you as a medical communicator. You can build a lot out of this book. But mainly for patients to be informed and to be like having like tiny blocks of information, which you can then digest slowly in your own speed, you know. Yeah.
One of the things that there's a lot written in literature, books, etc., about how the healthcare team communicates, and different members of the team communicate differently. So doctors communicate in a certain way, pharmacists and so on, and nurses. And I think I've read your book 3 times now.
Wow.
The the last time was in preparation for last week's podcast.
All
Uh,
right.
and it struck me that this is a book that only a nurse could have written. Would you agree with that?
A nurse or someone who has experienced cancer him or herself, maybe.
Yeah,
Someone
some
who is in the thing, someone out of the cancer bubble, probably. Well,
but
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe with a lot of research.
but what do you think the ingredient is? If we do agree that, or if you think it's valid to say that only a nurse could have written that book, what do you think that ingredient could be?
I think it is the heart for the people you care for. Is mainly that, and also I have a blooming fantasy, so I can put difficult stuff into pictures very easily. And because this is also how I learn stuff, this is also how I understand new things. And then I just use my learning technique in this book. And I think someone like if you have been a medical translator for 20 years or so, and you keep to the same topic, then you can also write books about it because you've been thinking about that topic so long. But the ingredients is how do I make it understandable for the people who are not reading this every day, probably.
One thing that I love from, oh, sorry.
So no, sorry, you go ahead.
One thing that I love from your book also, it's, well, the last, chapter 11, at least, I think it's the last one, because afterwards we have the epilogue, and you have the patient voices. No, you included the patient voices living with cancer, and you give, well, I think it's 3 voices.
It's so far it's in the second
Almira, Kathrin, 4.
In the second edition, there is a 4th one too.
Yes. And I would like you to maybe, if you can share just very briefly where these voices came from in your life. And
well, let's Kathrin D, who is the first one in this version. She has been my English proofreader for this book, and but I know her. How do I know her? I know her quite a while already. She's a medical translator too, a Swedish one, and I think I know her through the translator agency where I made my translator license, the Translator Academy, not agency. I keep getting confusing that. So I know her from there, and then we talked about how it is here in Sweden, like the care in Sweden, the healthcare system. So this is where we got into contact. And Maya and Amira, I wrote a post on LinkedIn that I'm looking for patient voices and or caregiver voices, and then they came to me and offered their story with me, because it's not all patients. Amira and Maya, they are actually caregivers, And as I said, there's a fourth story in the second edition from Andrea, and she's been a patient too. And she also belongs to the HtSC Cancer family. So,
well, then, thank you very much to Andrea, to Kathrin, to Maya, and to Almira for.
oh yeah, Maya, by the way, also the Polish reviewer. But after the book was like done, and I had a Polish translator, and then she just offered to proofread it because it's so close to her. Yeah, to her story.
And well, I've been wanting to, because you interviewed the other day Mark in your podcast in relation to metaphor, and we were talking about your garden metaphor. So I would love, Mark, to you take the lead on this. And
Yeah. Well, I think it's well, first of all, I think that that podcast we did was very disfluent on my part, so apologies for that. It's just my impression. So as we said last time, I've been interested in metaphors for decades, and the plant metaphor really is quite rare. It's quite rare in the Western model of biomedicine, but it's not rare in other communities, in other cultures. And well, first of all, I'm interested in why you chose the idea of the plant metaphor, the garden metaphor. But before that, I just want to take up the point I was making before. That ingredient is evident in the metaphor, the ingredient that you bring to the How to Speak Cancer book, and that is the empathy.
Yeah, why that's true. That is something that
Full of empathy.
yeah, being modest, but I think that is a strength of mine, being empathic or sympathetic with people, not just patients, like everyone.
What is the adjective, by the way, in English? I'm a
Yeah,
native
we
English.
talked about that, right? You should know.
Empathetic. I don't know. I need help.
I always say empathetic, but,
I do as well.
because that would be the German, like kind of the German term too. But I think you know what I mean. Everyone knows
Yeah,
what I mean. It's like feeling for the others, feeling the other person, and understanding the other person's opinion. Yeah. I would say like 90%. I'm quite good in catching that. You know, it's also being part of nurse, but also being part of a mom, and I don't know, just being part of me. And why I choose the garden metaphor is one reason we moved to Sweden is that I really love nature and I feel very connected to the nature. Trees, forests, the peace you get when you walk through the forest. And I was in the beginning I used different metaphors, but then I was like, no, I want this to be one whole, like one round thing. And I just decided to go with the garden metaphor because, again, I wanted this book to feel like a hug, and I thought the garden gives you a very warm, and I don't know, it just, as I said in the other podcast too, I thought, where would I go with my patients to talk to them? It would be in the park and of the hospital. I would take them out. I wouldn't talk to them about emotional stuff in their room if I can avoid it. So I took them for walks, and then we ate some ice cream on the bench in the sun, and then we talked about stuff. So I don't know, it was very natural for me to choose the garden. Funny, maybe this also is a story that suits very well this podcast. My dear grandma passed away 1.5 years ago, and when she passed away, my mom said that was in November, where you don't find butterflies, right? And she said that on the morning when my grandma died, a butterfly flew into her room. And you can see it here. This is my grandma being here, because my grandma is such an important part of my life. I don't know. I don't have words, but this is what I mean. There is so much heart in this book and so much of me. Yeah. Now
I think I'm gonna tell you something that is, I don't mean it to be corny, but it's just genuinely sincere. There are some people where you feel richer for knowing them, and you're one of those people.
Oh, Moki.
No, really. And I think that extends to the HtSC Cancer family, because you had volunteers translating a whole book,
Yeah.
sacrificing billable, and I know who every one of them are, and I will remember that. If I need work in X, Y, or Z languages, so
Yeah, I'm so extremely proud of this mission, of this team behind me. I feel like really this book has grown so much more about me. Like it's I'm not the book anymore. The book is this mission.
Yes.
Those wonderful people who are here, who are not here, everyone who belongs to this family is. I don't have words really. I was so touched when so many people came and wanted to share the message. So yeah, a massive thank you to you guys, to I don't know, being amazing people.
it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it was really incredible because, well, Mark and I lived all the process when Kathrin published her book. No, we released it, and then I think you had already the German version, or you did the German version,
I
right?
was working on it, yeah.
Yes, but she wanted to have it translated, maybe in a few other languages, not. And well, we have also our linguistic validation, well, patient voice and linguistic validation community, and I'm deeply grateful to all of you, because they all jumped right at it. And when because Kathrin announced on LinkedIn this, and she sought for help, no, in translating her book, and she was very active. um, and the response was just amazing. And every day we were like, 3 translators, I say, and then 4, and then 5, and 6
Yeah.
languages. We have more 10 languages, and it was in a matter of 1 week, no, or 2 weeks. I
I
mean, it
remember
was
the
just like
first 24 hours we were
we
just like,
were
oh my God,
crying. I
yeah.
remember.
It went
Isn't it?
completely crazy. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I remember the spreadsheet as well. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
I mean, the amazing thing is just, which is kind of what the reason why we had the podcast last week. It's not just European languages as well. There's Sinhala there, and there's Urdu.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really interested in, because the plant metaphor is quite new to English and to German and to, because otherwise it's martial metaphors,
yeah,
war, it's a battle,
Mhm.
or it's a journey, or it's a race. And those metaphors have their own drawbacks. Like if you lose, if you die, you lose the battle. You've done something wrong.
yeah,
Uh, People talk about he has run his race when a person dies, he or she has run their race, and so the plant metaphor is entirely different. And I think I'm just really curious about how that translated in a literal sense. How semantically, how did it come across? And um, so I guess this is a question for the translators.
yeah. Please, guys, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Just wait, because give me a moment. So then I think, yes, we're going to move on to introducing all of the translators that are here. So hold on that question for a moment.
I've jumped ahead, I guess.
Yeah, you jumped ahead, but it's okay.
But I suppose
Bec-
Kathrin could talk about that, though, about what she has been told by other translators. If
yeah, it's yes, go ahead. It's just that I want to give them the spotlight so everybody can see them. And I just want to let the audience know that we're up to 19 languages, in the sense of, well, language variants as well, because there are some variants of Spanish and so on. But it's really incredible. And I hope I have the permission of everyone to be put in the spotlight. If not, you can, as I mentioned before, you can switch off your cameras and let your names there. So we have Andrea, and maybe you can start introducing yourselves and share the language that you are translating.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I'm a medical translator. For 14 years, I've been doing this. I work into Hungarian. Hungarian is my native language. And I met Kathrin back in October at a conference. I remember following her on LinkedIn, and she was already posting about publishing this book. And I was waiting for it to be published. And I remember that when she said we were there at the conference, and she said that it's published and it can be already ordered. I ordered it on the spot during the conference. It arrived quite late. And I already thought about offering translating this book. I already said this to her. But I don't know, I considered this language to be spoken by too few people, very small country. It's not widely spoken, and maybe it wouldn't have so much relevance, you know. So this was the reason why I didn't offer. But when she posted on LinkedIn that she would be happy to have this translated in as many languages as possible, I instantly jumped at the opportunity. I myself, I don't have personal connection to cancer, luckily. But since working in linguistic validation, I felt a calling to help patients. So before working in that area, I lived in a bubble. I was translating medical content, but didn't have to face it in that way. But after having to do interviews with very sick people and feeling so overwhelmed by everything that is out there in the world, I just felt the urge to help. I need to help somehow, and I didn't know how to do it. And when this book came and the opportunity came to translate it, I knew that, okay, this is the way I can help finally, somehow tangible, to offer something. So this is how I ended up being part of the family.
Wonderful, Andrea. This is really touching. Andrea is one of our best linguistic validation consultants and cognitive debriefers for Hungarian. And thank you so much for doing this and for your heart and generosity. Really, it's amazing. Kathrin, I don't know. We can't hear you. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So let's keep meeting the HtSC Cancer family members then. Annabella Nascimento. There you go. Annabella, yes. Just yes, tell us about you and your experience with the book.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be part of this family. When I first heard about the book, I was already following Nur on LinkedIn, and you shared a post on the book and on the translations that already you had, and I saw that there was no Portugal variant, and I immediately felt that I had to do it. It perfectly aligned with how Kathrin said, my mission, what I think is my mission in the world, and my mission as a medical translator. I have training in physiotherapy. I used to work as a physiotherapist for 3 years, but then also my body told me that was not for me. And then I turned into languages and English teaching. In 2014, I transitioned into translation, and I immediately started with medical content.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I saw that this book was there and it needed to be translated, and I felt it needed to be shown to everyone that needed it, because unfortunately, almost everyone is related to cancer somehow. My grandmother on my mother's side died from pancreatic cancer, and my mother is a survivor from breast cancer, and whole our family has a big history. Also, I have access to the family risk follow-up appointments in the Portuguese Oncology Institute, because my mother is followed there. She has tested positive for the BRCA1, I think. Somehow, myself and my sister, we dodged that bullet, but you never know. But I still go there with my mother for that follow-up appointments. So it was very meaningful for me that I could do this. I could give myself and help somehow. On the other hand, I have a friend, a personal friend, a very close friend that's been fighting breast cancer for 9 years now. She is now with stage 4 breast metastatic cancer. And for me, reading How to Speak Cancer book was feeling that you can live with that disease with the proper care, with the proper attitude. It's very important. Reading your poem in the first page with that beautiful tree, Leah's tree, is you feel transported to a peaceful and safe place. It's a gift, really. I think the book and all it entails it's really a gift.
Thank you
I
so
love
much,
it.
Annabelle. Sorry.
Not at all.
We just realized that. Well, thank you for sharing. It's really thank you for opening and for sharing these experiences with people you care and love
Yes.
so much. And Mark had asked about the metaphors in relation to the book, and I just absolutely forgot about it. And maybe you can share, Annabella, about that. And Andrea, you can in Hungarian, and then we continue with the rest. So
I think the metaphors are very well on the point, because everyone deals with the garden or knows at least a little bit how to deal it. And it's very, in Portugal, when something bad happens, it's usually to relate it with the bad seed or bad weed. So I think it's very interesting, that metaphor, and it really transmits the idea that you want to give. Like, it really explains very well the difference between targeted therapies or monotherapies. I think it's really interesting.
mhm.
Just let me say that I love the chapter for the carers. It's really important. They are a very important part of the question, of the equation. And it's like a hug for those people who are hugging others and need to know how to care for themselves. It's amazing. There was another point I would like to, I don't remember now. It was about the carers, and that's it. I think it's amazing. It's a gift for every cancer patient, for every carer, wherever it is, and for the medical communicators. If you want to specialize in medical translation, for me, like I said to Kathrin, it's really, I feel I've specialized in oncology. I do understand the difference between the treatments there are, you can offer, and the hope that there is hope. If one treatment fails, you can move to another one. And also that information about that line that you draw between palliative care and end-of-life care. It's different. I didn't have this idea. I thought it was the same, but it's not. If you get palliative care from the beginning, you can live much better with the disease. And it's really, it's a gift. It's what I can say, and it's an honor for me to be part of this project.
Thank you so much, Annabelle. Really. So there are many of you who have been joining, so I don't know if we will have time to introduce all of you, but let's see if we can get to at least name you and be there for a moment. And Andrea, can you very, very briefly share about how you experienced the metaphor, translating the garden metaphor, as Mark was asking before?
Apologies for skipping the question. Yes, in Hungarian, I believe it will land very naturally. All of the people I know either grew up having a garden or a yard, or had grandparents at the countryside and spent their summer breaks at the garden. So when reading all these metaphors, they land very naturally. For me, it's very easy to translate. I absolutely don't have to do any research, because as I read the metaphors, I see it in front of my eyes. I can imagine how the weeds grow and how we replant and everything that's happening in a garden. And I believe it works very well with Kathrin's book, because it sends the message of surviving and thriving even after bad things happen, and the way nature comes back to life. It can happen to patients as well, and I'm really grateful to be able to be part of this fascinating and heartwarming project. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. So, Miriana, do you want to go next? Let's make it quick. I wish we had like 3 hours or
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everybody. It's very nice to be here, and it's very nice to be a part of this beautiful family. I actually, let's start by introducing myself. Actually, I am a medical translator into Serbian. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I've been very interested in medicine, partly because of my mother, because she's an intensive care nurse and she's been doing this job for 40 years, or over 40 years. And I thought of going into medicine, but then I don't know why, but I just dropped that idea eventually. Anyway, to cut the story short, I actually kind of threw myself at Kathrin with regard to translating this book, because I've been trying to find the way to have the book, like a paper copy of the book, because Amazon is not available in Serbia. And I actually got the idea of just writing to her, because we met her at our amazing course with Noor last year, and she was one of the guests at one lecture. So I wrote to her on LinkedIn, and I told my story about, like, my personal story about my own family, who, well, to say the least, we have like a very, very rich, if that word can be used in this context, very rich um, history of cancer. Both my mom and dad have gone through cancer multiple times, and this last time has struck us really, really bad, because it has been going on during the past year, and we have just, I hope so. I hope we have ended this horrible journey of bladder cancer with my dad in the past year. He has just had his surgery of bladder removal, so he's getting used to his urostomy now and everything. But luckily, he's not an oncological patient anymore. And well, in all that horror, I was like, as I said, I was trying to find the book, and when I wrote to Kathrin, I explained everything, and I was like, all the time I was thinking about like the readers in Serbia who are extremely um, well, traditional, and they depend on patriarchates. I don't know how to explain it further. Anyway, everything is so super traditional in Serbia, and speaking about cancer is not an option. And having an open conversation about cancer is not an option. And in my family, it's been open because my mom is a nurse, and we've been through it so many times, and we're very outspoken about it. But Serbia is a rural country in general, and so we actually like, I thought of uh, translating this book might actually help, you know, every day, like just a regular person understands how it works, and understand that it can be cured, and understand above everything that you can, in like a lot of cases, um, that you can cure it, that you can, if you take care of yourself, that you can be the one who, you know, like beats it, and uh, go on with your life. But people here are just afraid of, you know, afraid of doctors, afraid of hospitals, afraid of everything. So yeah, there is a lot of very sad stories that surround me, like from my hometown and in everyday life, of people who were just afraid, you know, of getting to know the disease and getting to know how you can beat it, and they just, you know, lost the battle in the end. And with respect to the garden, it's really like a very powerful metaphor in Serbia, because, and in Serbian, because as I said before, Serbia is a very traditional and country, and it depends on like a lot of families, 70% of families, not counting like the 3 or 4 bigger cities in Serbia, they depend on their own small farms, and they depend on their own 10 fingers and the work on the land, and they really know what it means when you put the seed in the soil. They really know what it means to grow, and they know what rebirth means. And this book actually will be really interesting to translate into Serbian and to present to people that you can, you know, regrow. You can be a healthy person again if you just take care of yourself. And I'm really looking forward to translating this. I don't know how long it will take me, because I'm really like detail oriented. So let's see how it goes. But I'm sure I will be enjoying it, and I'm really happy to be part of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirjana. That's lovely, and I'm sure it's going to have a great impact in Serbia. You've shared with us the situation for patients in Serbia, and it's really impactful. Maybe for other countries or other languages, it may not be as such. It will be impactful, but they have maybe other resources and other traditions, but especially in Serbia, it's very important. So thank you for your generosity and work. How many languages have been already published, Kathrin? 3. So it's in English, and then German, Swedish, I think, and the other one was Danish, or no, I don't remember.
English, Swedish, and German, I think, so far.
And there's another one, no? Swedish and German, English, Swedish, and German, right? Published.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
in Portuguese, European Portuguese is coming soon. So Anabela, your work is coming soon. Great, wonderful. And so we need to be quick. So let's move on. And we're going to leave Angelo de Oliveira for last because there is a surprise with him. So let's see, Lydia Fonseca is, I'll put you on the spotlight.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I think you're there.
Right.
Hello.
I think I have to remove the rest from the spotlight because it doesn't. Well, I hope we are all. Yes, sorry for that. Just some technical issue. Go ahead.
Sure.
Share with us.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for being super late. I messed up with the time zones. And well, my name is Lígia. I'm a Brazilian proofreader for the translation Angela is conducting. I'm not aware of the surprise. I'm not aware of the surprise. You owe me that. Well, I've been a translator for 23 years, not always on the technical field, technical medical field. I've been translating medical texts for about, I'd say 14, 15 years. Someone's dog is here. Hi, doggy.
It's okay.
Yeah, sure, fine. And been mostly translating medical devices, drug leaflets, and some studies for approval of vaccines in Brazil. And it's an area that I'm really drawn into. I have a history also in my family with digestive cancer. I lost my dad to pancreatic cancer nearly 10 years ago. His siblings and his father also died from bladder. One cousin had bladder cancer, but she's fine now. But my aunts and my uncle all had colon cancer, and they were fine for a while. All of them responded to treatments fairly well, but at some point the treatment stopped working, and it was it was terrible to see. And I remember that when one of his sisters had liver cancer, the first time she went to a doctor, he ordered an ultrasound, and he saw a nodule on the ultrasound, and he said, well, let's just watch it and see how it goes. And 6 months later, she was no longer with us. So that was, for me, an example of how not informing the patient and the family and the caregivers what could be going on with you, with your body, is so detrimental. And fortunately, with my dad's case and in his other siblings' case, we were better prepared, we were better informed, we knew how to look for signs that what could be going on. My father had a really good doctor and amazing nurses that were super reassuring to us what was going on. He lived with cancer for 1.5 years, which for pancreatic cancer is pretty remarkable, I'd say. And when we got the diagnosis, we knew right away that it was serious. We knew that pancreatic cancer was not something to take lightly. But there was never a moment that we didn't feel lost. I'm sorry, there was not a moment that we felt lost. We felt we didn't know what to do, who to resort to, and our journey turned out to be fairly positive with that. And when I met Angelo, he asked me to join the project, I was like, sure, let's do it. I love it. I love it. It will be so important. And the plant metaphor also is very, very helpful, very, very useful for us in Brazil. We do also have a fairly rural tradition here. And the language, I think, is very clear, is very calming for those who are reading. I have some knowledge, so I'm like, okay, the technical part is really to the point, is okay, I know what you're talking about. I'm understanding everything, even the terms that I had never heard before. I was like, okay, I see what you did that. So I'm feeling very honored to be part of the project. I just we're doing the translation and reviewing chapters. So I just delivered my chapter 6 review. Hope it's okay. I'm waiting for your notes on the review. And that's basically it. I'll let Angela do most of the talking about the Brazilian Portuguese translation.
Yes, because you are the team for Brazilian.
Yes. But I'm very happy and honored to be here. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you. So we have Marianne Rust. Are you there? Or I don't know if she's here because we are continuing. So maybe, and Marina, she couldn't turn on her camera. So, well, Marianne Rust was for, you said, Kathrin, it was for Norwegian, right? Norwegian. So thank you, Marianne, for all your contribution. And Marina is for Croatian. So thank you so much to you. So here we go with, we have Angelo. So hi, Angelo. Nice to see you.
Hi, everyone. So nice to be here with you. So I am the English to Brazilian Portuguese translator of How to Speak Cancer. It was funny how we connected. Actually, I met Kathrin because of another person here in Brazil. Her name is Doris, and they used to do some work together. And because of her, I started participating in Mad Talks with Kathrin. So that's how I met her. And just a few months later, she talked about How to Speak Cancer, and I immediately connected to it, and I just thought I would love to translate this book into Portuguese, and but I didn't have the courage actually to reach out to her and say that. But right after, it was like really like one day after, she posted that somebody had volunteered, and I was like, oh my God, I have to do the same. And that's when I contacted her. I am a medical translator. Actually, I'm a translator. I've been a translator for the past 10 years, but only recently, I mean, for the past year and a half, I turned into medicine for translating texts via a volunteer work that I do with Wiki Project Mad. And that's when my relationship with the medical world started. So since the beginning, I was very connected to volunteering work. So I started volunteering for TED Talks, and then for Translators Without Borders. And then via pro bono, I got in contact with the Wiki Project Mad. And so volunteering is part of my job, I would say. I love doing that. So it was natural that I felt like that when I saw the How to Speak Cancer project. Apart from that, the book touched me in a very profound way, I would say. because coincidentally, right after the beginning of the second chapter of the book, I've shared the story in some instances. My brother called and he was diagnosed with skin cancer. And 3 days later, my husband was diagnosed with kidney cancer. So it was a blow. My immediate family had never been touched by cancer. Of course, that we had experienced with friends and other people around us, but never so close to us. So it was scary. However, I would say for having had read the book before was really for me, and I can't say that was a coincidence, really. It seems like a coincidence, but that was just not a coincidence. But after reading the book and this happening to me, I mean, I felt really the power of that book, because I wouldn't have gone through a period of high anxiety if it were not for the information that I had gotten from the book, and how it calmed me down at that particular moment. So apart from it all, I mean, it's been a very personal thing to me as well. Kathrin knows all about it. And as for the metaphors in the book, just like what Ligia said, I mean, it felt somehow very natural. Although I am not personally connected to gardening, but it was so clear to see the images that Kathrin was trying to convey there. Not trying, because she conveyed the message and the images there. So it was so natural and so easy to understand. In Brazil, we are somehow, as Ligia said too, I mean, we are somehow very connected to the rural world, and we are very connected to the exuberant nature that we have here, tropical exuberant nature. And I guess that a lot of our literature is connected to that as well. I mean, we've seen that in books and all, not exactly about gardening, but nature, in a broader sense. And personally, at home, I have a gardener. My husband is a gardener. He loves that. He takes care of our garden here. And that's why I feel a little bit closer to this world. So I believe that in Portuguese it will be very very easy for people to connect with that too, because it's easy to connect. It's nothing like too technical, of course, because the objective was exactly the opposite of that, was turning language into a clearer form or easier to understand form. And I mean, I guess Kathrin, I mean, was really successful in doing that. All right. Should I say the?
You have a surprise.
Yeah, a little surprise here is that we're very
Yes.
happy about it. My husband is a senior executive, recently in the healthcare area, and because of meeting a lot of people around in the healthcare area, in the medical world, he gave me an idea of trying to bring Kathrin to Brazil, because we have, at least here in São Paulo, we have two important fairs and congresses in the medical world. One of them is happening now in May, which is called Hospitalar. And the other one is called, it's a congress together with a fair, but it's more of a congress, a more academic thing, which is called CONAP. And we're trying both. As for the moment, we had received the green light for CONAPI, which happens in October.
Wonderful.
So yeah. I mean, we're so excited about that. So, and we're still trying. I know it's May, Kathrin, so hold the horses there. But we're still trying for her to come in May as well. Yeah, we haven't received an answer yet, but we're still trying. But for CONAPI, yes, the project was approved.
Can I get a
So,
ticket? Can I get a pass? Can I get a pass, a ticket, anything?
Oh, we have to be there with her. I was just waiting for the answers there because I needed to talk to you as well. I mean, we have to be there.
Dude, I'm there. You see São Paulo, right? I'm there. Even if it wasn't, I will be there.
It is here. It is here.
That's really great.
Yay.
That's really great,
So that was
Kathrin,
it. Right.
that you're going to meet there, and the book will be published by then in Brazilian Portuguese for sure. So
Yeah.
what a
Hopefully, yes.
wonderful moment to share it and talk about it. And congratulations, really. This is amazing. And
that is awesome.
yeah, we need to wrap
This book
up,
is a
but
movement.
it is. It is a movement. It is a movement.
Kathrin says that she has some news as well.
Okay, you have some news? I have some news too. Kathrin, we can't hear you for some reason.
No?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Well, first of all, thank you all so much again for being here and for your introductions and for sharing your stories with us. Angelo and Evandro, really, thank you so much for organizing that. This is, of course, something extremely exciting for me, but this means for every one of you that you have a chance to get your book. If you make it until October, we can get your name and your book to this fair. So this is a big chance for all of us to reach people. I mean, there's thousands of people there, and we don't go there for the book. We go there for the mission. We want to spread the word. We want to spread our rings and seed our seeds in the world of how to speak cancer. And the news I have are compared to Angelo's news, not that big, but I wanted to share that I also started to write a blog, How to Speak Cancer blog. And this is the base for the new podcast, How to Speak Cancer. That is just some more seeds I'm spreading into the world. There is also an Instagram channel now for How to Speak Cancer where I share more new episodes, more blog posts. So just to get the people out there to get to know about the mission, because you guys said so many wonderful things. Really, I'm hot for like all the emotions that are going through me, and this hasn't even been half of the team. We could have such a great meeting for days with the whole team.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is the beginning.
It is, yeah, it is. As you said in the beginning, you know, I was hesitant. I didn't even want to publish that book, and I would have never thought that this is coming out of the book. And yeah, sometimes it just feels surreal, really. But I'm so looking forward to being in Brazil in October. I mean, hello.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And for all of you who are watching us, if you want to contribute, be part of this community, just getting in contact with Kathrin or with any of the translators of the family, and just you're absolutely welcome, right?
Absolutely.
And yes, and I was going to ask you how people can promote it, and I guess this participating in this new podcast, How to Speak Cancer podcast, it's an amazing way, and
sharing the book posts, sharing on Instagram. I mean the people who need to read the book, the patients, they're on Instagram, they're not on LinkedIn. So we need to get out on Facebook. I'm also on Facebook with How to Speak Cancer. So they need share.
And as soon as the book gets published in other languages, to get this book, try to get them in different hospital wards and clinics, and so that patients can have access to them, public libraries, and other places where it can be used. So it's really amazing, this conversation, amazing meeting you all, knowing you, because we have a history already, some of us. And yeah, and we have one last thing we wanted to say, that Kathrin is just, it's been 2025, it's been amazing for her, and 26, I guess, but she's published another book to help patients with Keith-Berry-Lewitz, and we just wanted to say that at the end. And can you tell us just very, very briefly the name of the book and where people can find it? And
yeah, I co-authored that book with Keith Berelowitz. It's all about clinical trials and understanding what a clinical trial is. And we talk very openly about mistrust and all angles of clinical trials. Again, in nature metaphors. This time, not one metaphor throughout the book, but we have our own metaphors we use. Again, both of our teenage daughters are did draw the illustrations. And the very special thing about that book is, I think, is that we brought in a lot of stories and different voices from the clinical trial world. So yeah, it's a very short version. Oh yeah, it's called Clinical Trials Science Field Recruited ?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
well,
much.
I don't know if Mark, you want to add something so that we close for today. And
Well, we haven't even mentioned the clear health communication, but that's a whole different
Next
topic.
podcast.
right. Yes, well,
Yeah,
this
there's a
has
lot
been a
going on.
special episode. We wanted to, well, do an interview to you, Kathrin, but also give space and voice to your family and our community as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for all that you do. And well, let's see each other very soon, because now we have a med talk with Angela, right? Kathrin is interviewing Angela, so we'll be there in 45 minutes or less than that.
Let's have some coffee.
Let's keep sharing and enjoying. And we'll work. Sometime we'll start work today, but
well, thank you so much, everyone, for
thank
turning
you,
up,
Kathrin.
and everyone for just being you, really.
Thank
you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Culture, Communication and Care Spotlight with Mark Gibson and Ferrante. Stay connected by visiting our website artofdiversity.org and by subscribing to the Patient Voice and Linguistic Validation Café YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share about us with your community on social media. Thank you. We appreciate your support.